Ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges and esteemed opposition, let's begin with the simple truth. Not all traditions deserve to be preserved. While our opponents may argue that the rise of in divorce rates signals a failure in society, we are here to show that it is in fact a sign of progress. It reflects Morocco's modernization, where personal freedom, individual happiness, and gender equality are becoming the pillars of thriving society. Moreover, while our opponents will insist that traditional values are the foundation of Moroccan society, we believe that the true progress comes when a society values its people well-being over outdated norms. In this light, the rise in divorce rates signifies the courage of individuals choosing happiness and autonomy, rather than being bound by rigid societal expectations. This shift highlights how modernization is not a rejection of culture, but a refinement of it, making it more adaptable to contemporary realities. To further clarify the parameters of this debate, it is crucial to define the key terms. Divorce refers to the legal dissolution of a marriage, which enables individuals to live relationships that no longer serve their well-being or happiness. Additionally, modernization can be understood as the process of societal transformation, where traditional norms evolve in favor of progress, individual rights, and equality. Finally, traditional values are cultural and social norms, rooted in customs, often prioritizing collective expectation over individual freedom and self-expression. These definitions are fundamental to understanding why the rise in divorce rates reflects Morocco's progress. Building on this foundation, as the government team, we will demonstrate that rise in divorce rates reflects Morocco's embrace of modernization. Each of us will explore a distinct aspect of this transformation. To begin, the leader of the government will discuss the divorce, improves children's rights, and protects them. The member of the government will analyze the influence of social media and exposure to global culture, as well as the shift toward individualism. Furthermore, the government whip will delve into how divorce enhances women's empowerment. Finally, I will, as the Prime Minister, argue that divorce as a symbol of individual freedom. Expanding on this point, divorce is not a societal collapse. It is a choice that reflects the changing nature of Moroccan society. In the past, many individuals, especially women, remained in unhappy or harmful marriage due to special pressure and the stigma of surrounding divorce. However, today, divorce represents personal freedom, the ability to break free from unfulfilling relationships and seek happiness. This evolution demonstrates how modernization empowers individuals to prioritize their well-being. For example, Morocco's 2004 Family Code, Mudawana, introduced significant reforms that gave women greater legal standing in marital decisions, allowing them to initiate divorce more easily. These reforms have empowered women and ensured that marriages are built on mutual respect, not forced complaints. Consequently, divorce provides individuals with a way out of oppressive relationships, fostering personal growth and opening pathways to a better life. In conclusion, the rise in divorce rates is not a reflection of moral decline or societal breakdown. Instead, it signals Morocco's embrace of modernization, where individual freedom, gender equality, and personal happiness are no longer secondary to outdated traditions. Therefore, divorce allows people to reclaim their lives and move forward in peace. Rather than fearing this trend, we should celebrate it as a step forward, a more progressive, compassionate society. Thank you.
Dear audience, honorable judges, and esteemed opponents, good morning. It is with great pleasure and honor that we are all here today. but also with great excitement, because as you can all see, today's motion is something that does not directly concerns us as students and teenagers, but it is something we heard a lot about these days: the rise of divorce rates. In Morocco, and according to the website Morocco World News, divorce cases have significantly increased between 2016 and 2021, going from 72,000 cases in 2016 to 126,000 cases in 2021. But the question is this increase in divorce really connected to the idea, as the motion mentioned, that Moroccan society has become more modern? Modern in the sense that our life changed, that we progressed, and that we have become more open to new ideas and ways of living, but also that many aspects of our lives has changed, such as education. And education is what especially the deputy leader of opposition is going to talk about. Is this rise in divorce truly connected to the idea that society is now less attached to Moroccan traditions? And what I mean by Moroccan traditions is that in marriage, the man holds the power. He is the one who works and has the freedom to do whatever he wants. And woman's role is to stay at home and take care of her children. She is also expected to be very patient and accept many things, including the possibility that her husband may remarry after her. But, dear audience, my team and I strongly believe that these are not the true causes of the rise in divorce rates in Morocco. And we believe that behind these few words lie other factors that have nothing to do with modernity, and even less with Moroccan traditions. And let me prove you that by a short story and simple story of a couple. For example, Sarah and Yusuf, who decided to get married when Yusuf had a steady job and when he was financially stable. But due to some reasons, Yusuf had lost his job and struggled to find another one. So he found himself unable to fulfill his financial responsibilities. And unfortunately, the couple decided to divorce. We can clearly say that here, the main reason of this separation was unemployment. And let me just tell you that Sarah's and Yusuf's situation is the reality of a quarter of married couples who divorce in Morocco. Also, according to the website Morocco World News, 24% of divorce cases are caused by unemployment. Does joblessness has anything to do with Moroccan traditions? No. And if Moroccan society had truly become more modern, and if the country had progressed, these types of issues will be resolved, because modernization brings better jobs opportunities and improve the economic conditions, which helps families to reduce financial stress. However, this is not yet fully realized in Morocco. So, to conclude, modernity should never be the main cause of the rise in divorce rates in Morocco. On the contrary, if we improve the lives of Moroccan citizens, whether financially or in other ways, we will see that divorce cases will gradually decrease. Also, we must not forget that even in the most developed countries, where modernity has reached a high level, divorce has never been a main issue. But I won't get far in the subject, because this is especially what the member of the opposition is going to delve into in her second intervention. Thank you.
In a century where we stand at a crossroads where traditions meets modernity, where the ancient values of our society intersect with the demands of this era, I feel very honored to stand in front of you today to debate today's motion. Dear audience, honorable jury, dear opponents, greetings. At first sight, the motion doesn't really sit well with us, especially with the word divorce and the harsh meanings it comes bearing. Well, let me break it down for you. No, divorce is not what we always think it is. And no, divorce is not always the bad guy in the story. And before you come for me, sorry, dear opponents, I know we're not debating whether the divorce is good or bad for the society, but rather how the increasing rates of divorce is a sign of society's development and modernization and less focus on traditional values. That's why allow me to ask you a sixth grader question. What is to you the pillar of a society? While some of you might say family, others might say women, I would say children. And in order for me to clarify, let's make a small comparison. Let's take a look at a small family that lives not so peacefully. A mother crying every night about her bitter reality, a dad always complaining about his miserable life, but most importantly, kids who sleep every night to the lullaby that is their parents arguing and shouting. Now, what kids would we raise in such an environment? Probably ones that don't have any sense of what mental health means, ones that do nothing but crumble day by day, but most importantly, ones that carry traumas and burdens that weigh like mountains over their shoulders. Now, on the other hand, if we take a look at another family where the parents decided that it was for the best to...
POI?
Yes?
How can you confidently say that the rise in divorce rates directly reflects modernization rather than other factors like economic stress?
If you listen to me, by the end of my intervention, I will conclude and you'll understand everything. Now, you see, when these two parents decided that it was for the best to take a divorce, to stop dragging their kids further down with them in that dirt hole, the kids would, yes, of course, they would alternatively go between their moms and dads' homes, but at least they would see their parents in a very, very healthy and prosperous environment. They would see that not everything is toxic and maybe there is a solution for everything. And like that, we would be raising individuals who are in their right minds, who would contribute well to construct a very solid and rigid society. Now, you see, their opponents, what is a modern society without children's rights? Divorce can set free kids from a toxic environment filled with hatred and resentment. That's why, dear audience, the rising rates of divorce show that our society is becoming more modern. People are becoming more aware of how toxic some marriage relationships can be. People are becoming aware of the absurdity of some traditions, such as families having to stay put together no matter what problems they're going through and having to drag their children further with them in their problems. I mean, you can see it very well, dear opponents. If not, I'd be happy to lend you my glasses. Thank you.
A wise woman once said, "Happiness in marriage is truly a matter of chance." While Jane Austen's words resonate with 19th century England, her words resonate with Morocco's past, where marriage was less about love and more about social obligations. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges, and my esteemed opponents, welcome back. Now, aligning with the leader of opposition sayings, some of you may say that modernity is to blame because it has killed off traditional values. Well, let me tell you, if that was the case, we wouldn't still be hosting Wedding Fit for Royalty, pressuring people to marry by 25, and letting family elders manage relationships like CEOs of someone else's love life. And there goes our main topic, divorce. Back then, it was frowned upon, treated like a shame against humanity, not because marriages were perfect, but because societal structures trapped people in unhappy unions. With modernity, the bars of this invisible cage were lifted. So why aren't we building stronger foundations instead of crumbling marriages? If it was truly to blame, then why aren't divorce rates failing with Morocco's increasing embrace of modernity's principles from education to independence and social media? Now, let's talk about social media. You would think with all the pedagogy we've introduced, schools, universities, endless seminars about gender equality and self-development, we'd have marriage all figured out right. Modern education prepares us for everything except the realities of life. Here is the real kicker. We've been taught to dream big, to chase careers and personal goals. Marriage is supposed to be the cherry on top, but they forget to tell us you can't build a life with someone if you're not taught the skills to compromise, communicate, and empathize. We're all just winging it for finally ending in divorce. And marriage, by all means family interference, a cornerstone of traditional Moroccan values. Now, this topic is deeply rooted in my life, as I'm about to tell you the story time of my dear aunt. As a newlywed woman, she moved into her in-laws' house, as it is often the case. She moved into her in-laws' house, as it is often the case. Now, she was expected to live under their rules, cook, clean... Taken?
Do you think that, based on what you're trying to say, you're kind of forgetting the traditions like that we have in our country, such as young girls getting married young girls getting married underage, toxic relationships.
Women moving into their in-laws' house.
Wait for me to
tradition.
finish my question. Are you suggesting that people should stay in toxic and abusive marriages to uphold traditions? Thank you.
That is not the motion. Anyways, as it is often the case, she was expected to live under their rules, cook, clean, and eventually integrate as a part of the family hierarchy. Eventually, disagreements rose between her and her husband, and essentially between her and his family. Now, instead of addressing these issues as a couple, family members took side, and eventually the marriage collapsed. Now, is this modernity? No, it's the weight of traditional values that pushes marriages into failure. Not because we reject them, but because traditional values can't thrive under such pressure. So without going too far, let me tell you, let's stop treating divorce as the villain and modernity as the easy scapegoat. If marriages are failing, it's not because we reject traditions, but because we're holding to outdated practices and they're trying to fit into today's world. It's like trying to pour tea into a broken cup. It spills, shatters, and then we blame the tea. Now, dear audience, it's never too late to make the right decision. Thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges, respected opponents, greetings. Today, I stand before you to discuss the significant impacts of social media and the global culture and the rising divorce in Morocco states. First, let's consider the social media in Morocco is approximately 70% of the Moroccans' population engages with social media platforms regularly. This platform serves as a way for the exposure to diverse lifestyles, such as relationships, norms that challenge the traditional views on marriage. Young Moroccans, in particular, are influenced by the people they see in social media in a daily manner, who they often prioritize personal happiness and emotional fulfillment over societal expectations. A recent survey revealed that 60% of the Moroccans think that it is acceptable to end a marriage if it no longer brings joy. The shift in mindset can be directly correlated with the influence of social media, where individuals constantly compare their lives with the standardized and pre-tailored years of relationships. Another key thing to remember is that the global culture cannot be understood. As Moroccans gain access to international perspectives through media and the internet, they are increasingly exposed to values that emphasize individuals and personal choices. Respected opponents, this cultural shift encourages and supports individuals to prioritize their own needs and desires, leading to a re-evaluation of what does marriage mean. To clarify more, the traditional modern understanding that values personal happiness and compatibility. The rise in divorce rates illustrate that Moroccan society is becoming more modern, moving away from traditional values and rigid traditional values to a more flexible and individual-centered approach to relationships. Furthermore, we must address economic pressure that many couples in Morocco face. The rising cost of living, economic instability can strain relationships, leading to dissatisfaction, ultimately divorce. Financial stress is often cited as a significant factor in material breakdowns. As couples struggle to meet their basic needs while navigating their personal differences, this economy reality with the cultural shifts combined with the media and globalization creates an environment where a divorce becomes a more viable option. In conclusion, the rise of divorce rates in Morocco is a multifaceted issue influenced by social media, cultural shifts, economic pressures, and a growing emphasis on individualism. As we continue to navigate these changes, it is crucial to understand that this trend reflects a modernizing society that increasingly values personal fulfillment over traditional expectations. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, first I would like to answer the deputy leader of the government who said, why aren't we still attached to our traditions? I would like to point out that marriages between children wasn't much of a tradition, but rather a plague. So, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the jury, according to the government, the rise in divorce rates in Morocco is supposedly a sign of modernity and a shift away from traditional values. But is that really the best explanation we can come up with? Well, let's take a closer look. When nearly half the population is struggling from mental health disorders, it becomes clear that there is a deeper problem, which is a more pressing issue at play, one that directly impacts individuals, their relationships, as well as their marriages. Consider this. According to the Ministry of Health and Social Protection, 48.9% of Moroccans have experienced mental health disorders at some point in their lifetimes. Of these, 26% suffer from depression, 9% from anxiety disorders, and 5.6% from psychotic disorders. These figures are not just statistics. They highlight a nationwide mental health crisis that affects nearly half the population. This crisis has ripple effects on families and relationships, contributing significantly to the rise of divorce rates in Morocco we see today. Over the past few decades, Morocco has seen a increase in divorce rates significantly. While some argue that this reflects modernity, the reality is far more complex. Mental health challenges, left untreated, place immense pressure on marriages. Depression can lead to emotional detachment, causing one partner or both of them to feel isolated and misunderstood. Anxiety intensifies arguments, turning minor disagreements into major conflicts. Without the tools or resources to solve these problems, many couples find themselves deteriorating over time. Dear audience, I know you've heard enough from my team and I. However, I cannot stress this point enough. The rise in divorce rates has nothing to do with rejecting traditional values or anything else, but it has to do with the growing inability of couples to cope with these challenges in a society that lacks adequate mental health supports. In fact, Morocco has fewer than 0.1 psychiatrists per 100,000 people, which is below the global average of 1.7 and the European average of 9.4. In such growing shortage, access to counseling, therapy, and other mental health supports are nearly non-existent in Morocco. This lack of support means that mental health issues, which originally could be dealt with, spiral out of control. Partners are left to navigate these challenges alone, often without understanding the root causes of their disagreements. As the health minister has pointed out, stigma surrounding mental health disorders further exacerbates the problem. Many individuals avoid seeking help for fear of judgment, and I'm sure you've heard enough from our deputy leader of opposition, and you can deduct that as well. Also, this stigma creates a vicious cycle. Mental health challenges go untreated, conflicts escalate, and divorce becomes the only viable escape. I think you can understand the importance of divorce and its lack of relation to leaving traditional beliefs behind. Thank you.
A woman is a mother, a daughter, a sister. But not only that, she's a soul, a dream, an idea, a leader, someone. But not anyone. She is the pillar of all societies among the world, including the Moroccan one. Fostering women's empowerment empowers our society. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. Women have been struggling for so long in silence due to several cultural norms that, of course, our dear opponents refuse to cite since they've been defending mediocrity since the beginning of these debates. But as a strong Moroccan brave woman, I'm not scared to tell you what they've been through. Forced underage marriages, marital captivity, honor crimes, female genital mutilation, and the denial of women's right to divorce. And our country, Morocco, as it should, took a brave, courageous step in order to break the taboo and to free these women from their abusive, toxic relationships and save many families from a total destruction, where the kids, who could have been us, live in total violence, toxicity, and abuse. All of that, by the end, go in the benefit of the Moroccan society. High divorce rates reflect a new Morocco, people who are more aware of mental health and who prioritize their mental health over anything else. Also, people who are more aware of the structure, the real structure of a family foundation. A family where communication, solidarity, and respect are present. And here, dear audience, I ask an important question. Is enduring, harming, intimidating, threatening, and killing a form of respect? Would you, dear audience, accept that form of respect? In my case, of course not. According to euromedrights.org, 57% of women have been domestic violence victims. And does that mean, dear opponents, that in order to follow traditional values and not follow modernization, we don't have to act, react, and fight for these women to get their rights back?
POI? Yeah. So women empowerment is deeply enforced in our religion, therefore connected to our traditions. So I don't see what's your point.
I'm talking about culture, and culture is way different from religion. So maybe you just misunderstood me. Thank you. All right. So, as I said, in order to not follow modernization, we need to ignore these women and let them suffer in silence, alone, without any support. In my opinion, we'd rather follow modernization than live in denial and ignorance. Dear opponents, don't you believe in human rights that saved your ancestors, your cultural heritage, and is protecting you today? Protecting you by giving you dignity? Why wouldn't we give it to our women? And as you can notice, as I mentioned earlier, that women have been struggling due to cultural norms and not values, since value is much more than a tradition. It is a belief that it's not harmful, that enhances our unity and fosters our pride. To conclude, the right to choose whether to divorce or not should not rely on a cultural norm, nor the fact that you have a double X chromosome or XY1. Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Divorce rates rising in Morocco has been an issue for the last decades. Many explain it by alleged modernity or development. But my team and I firmly believe that Morocco as a country is nowhere near being evolved enough, since we lack proper education about so many important subjects, just like marriage, as my deputy leader of opposition delved into, or because of our, dare I say, miserable mental health awareness and treatments, just like my member of opposition has remarked. That is exactly why 80% of couples divorce in their first years. Yes, you heard quite right. 80% of couples divorce in their first years. I think we have given enough arguments and examples as to why the rise in divorce rates has nothing to do with us letting go of our traditions. But since my opponents don't seem to have been convinced, let me give you one last and irrefutable argument. If you didn't know, the most common kind of divorce is what we call a divorce of discord, which gives right to any man, and additionally, after a law was passed in 1858, to any woman to file for a divorce. These reforms made the process so much easier and transparent, leading to an increase in divorce cases. But if you didn't know, and the most interesting part is this kind of divorce is mentioned in our religion, as it is mentioned in the Holy Quran. As it is said, if you anticipate a split between them, appoint a mediator from his family, another from hers. If they desire a reconciliation, Allah will resort to harmony between them. Surely Allah is all-knowing, all-aware. So by applying it, we're getting closer to our religion. So getting closer to our roots, and by conclusion, getting closer to our traditional values. Also, the expensation of divorce rates does not necessarily indicate a detachment from traditional values, since many divorced individuals still adhere to cultural norms. Simply, to put it, Moroccan society is simply trying to adjust the traditional values to a more modern reality. While some practices, yes, they may change, but the core values of family, social cohesion and respect, they remain intact for now and for always. It can also be seen as a part of this adaptation process, where individuals seek to balance between personal happiness and traditional values and social expectations. It may also reflect a more nuanced understanding and practice of religious teachings, but not a total rejection of cultural and religious values and Islamic values. In addition, divorce may be seen to have been increasing these last few years, but it does not come from yesterday or the year before. It comes from way deeper in our religion, in our country and history. As in the past, in earlier times, unhappy couples often remained married due to social pressure. But now, they may have lived, but even then, they may have lived separately or in dysfunctional households. Thank you.
The opposition may argue that rising divorce rates signify the breakdown of family structures and moral values. But I ask, is a family truly stronger when it is held together by obligation and resentment? Divorce is not about breaking families. It is about ensuring that individuals, whether parents or children, are in environments that are healthy, supportive, and loving. In closing, the rise in divorce rates is not a crisis, but a step towards a brighter, more progressive future. It shows that Moroccan society is prioritizing personal freedom, happiness, and equality. This is not a sign of model decline. It is a reflection of a society that is modernizing for the better. Thank you.
In employment, mental health issues in relationships. In employment, mental health issues in relationships and lack of proper education about marriage are clear indicators that we are still far from being a truly modern society, and that we are still somehow dependent on our traditional values and customs. And the rise in divorce rates in Morocco is only a result that reflects an imbalance between a society that wants to progress and change her mindset and move forward, and a society that still wants to preserve her traditions. So, the best solution to resolve this kind of issues that affect negatively our dear country is to find a balance between preserving our cultural heritage and embracing the changes needed to build a more progressive, inclusive, and educated society. Thank you.
Now, for my last intervention, I would like to quote something my dear friend always likes to say. What is the drink that can be bitter and sweet at the same time? Well, it's reality. Now, whether you want to accept it or not, the rise of divorce rates is translating how aware and knowledgeable our society is becoming. How people started saying no to toxic marriages, no to oppressive relationships, no to some absurd traditions. And be careful, I'm not talking about eating couscous on Fridays at your grandma's, nor about how you hold your traditional weddings, nor about religion that is not necessarily part of culture. But the traditions that my teammates and I have been telling you throughout this whole debate. Thank you.
Dear audience, unfortunately the time fails me to defend further the absurd idea of blaming modernity for rising the divorce rates in Morocco. As our country being more attached to traditions than ever, according to the statistics that between 2016 and 2021, divorce cases increased significantly, and especially in rural areas where traditional values are typically dominant, and that includes child marriage and gender roles in response to the reputed leader. These problems have always existed in our country, despite our so-called modernity. Thank you for your attention.
In a nutshell, no one can deny the fact that our dear opponents may argue that traditional values are essential for the stability of our society. I would like to emphasize that change is a natural part of our societal evolution. They may claim that modern views on relationship undermines family structures, but studies have shown that diverse family models can be just as nurturing and supportive. Furthermore, my opponents might suggest that young people today lack commitment due to their views on marriage. However, it's important to recognize that today's youths are redefining commitments in ways that reflect their values and experiences. They prioritize partnerships built on mutual respect and understanding, which can lead to healthier relationships. Thank you.
So we can all agree that Italy is a way more modern and developed country than Morocco. So by analogy, and according to our dear government, Italy's divorce rate should more than exceed Morocco's, right? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint, but that's far from the case. Italy's divorce rate sits at a low 1.4 per thousand people. And the best part of this is that Italy isn't the only exception. We have Ireland and Poland, who sit in respectively 0.7 per thousand people and 1.7 per thousand people. All of these countries comply to the same point. So I don't think more words are necessary when numbers speak for themselves. So please recheck your sources. Thank you.
The last dance. I can't help but wonder if you, dear ladies, are simply tuning us or you're ignoring our arguments and what we've been saying. Perhaps you just don't get it, maybe. I don't know. Either way, I still respect all of you because opposing our ideas and perspectives, no matter how absurd your arguments are, still pushes us to dig deeper and know the real roots of our society's underdevelopment. Sadly, one of the major issues are some little narrow minds who desperately need to grow and to sharpen their knowledge of the reality, who desperately need to come through modernization and civility and learn more about what they have to do and Okay, so denying benefits of high divorce rates only highlights a one-sided and overly simplistic way of thinking. Thank you.
Hello again. To conclude this very interesting and really exciting debate, I would like first of all to respond to the Prime Minister's first intervention, by saying legal reforms may reflect societal changes but do not necessarily prove or mean modernity. They are tools to address issues within a traditional framework. Now, to conclude this amazing debate, I would like to give you a very impactful argument, which says that in the really modern countries that really are aware of themselves, they give support to young married couples for them to start a life. In Morocco, we do not do this. We do not support marriages, so that is why the divorce is so high. It does not have to do anything with the Serengova tradition. It does have to do with the Moroccan society not really caring, or the government not caring for the dependence of the couples and the young people. Thank you.